Morning.
Good morning. How you feeling about your new kicker?
Haven't seen him on the field yet.
Have you talked to him?
I talked to him this morning. Yeah. I mean, listen, it's and this is something that James did everything right. Obviously, it's not about that. It's the fact that we're still trying to find the right guy, for that spot. And he was Pederson was one of the guys that even back in the spring that we had liked and considered and followed his career a little bit. And so, when he became available, we wanted to, again, take advantage of the opportunity. And, we're always going to be looking for, the best guys and create some competition. So it'll be good opportunity for him.
Was there something about Riley that caught your eye when you saw him on film or that caught Heath's eye?
I mean, obviously his make percentage, the accuracy, talking to the coaches and team, where he's been and all that is a big part of the process, for us and again just felt comfortable and again trying to add as much talent as we can.
All five new guys are in the building.
I believe the last one just came in a few minutes ago from physicals and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
No flight issues or anything. I know it was reported in Cincinnati that Kendrick was literally about to sign with the practice squad, and they're like, "Oh no, we got to get you on a flight to Jacksonville."
And I don't know about that. I just know he's here in our building and ready to go.
Apparently, Zach Taylor gave press a call. Did you hear about this?
I think they talk quite a bit, but maybe.
Yeah, about Kendrick specifically.
Oh, about Kendrick specifically.
Yeah. Why was he a priority for you guys?
I think again, I mean, those conversations are between brothers, but listen, you get to this point of the season and the end of camp, and you look at your, for us too, you got to look at your 48, right? You got to look at your game day guys, and you got to look at your 53, and then eventually your practice squad. And so, we felt pretty comfortable with the 48. And then we wanted to make decisions to add some talent, particularly special teams. That's, we've talked about this, and Trent and I alluded to this the other day, that, your back third or back few guys your roster, those guys they're core special teams players, and the guys we've brought in are all that, and can play teams. Pryor's probably the one that doesn't have as much teams value, but he was a guy that we have still needed a receiver spot available, and felt real comfortable with him, and excited for him and his opportunity to be with us along with the other guys.
What was it about his skill set that it seemed like Cincinnati was upset that you guys were able to snatch him? It certainly seemed like their fan base gravitated towards him.
Well, I think too, his versatility. He obviously he can play inside, but he's also an outside receiver for what he showed, and just a kid that's a hard worker. Even when you talk to some of their coaches, a guy that they've really invested a lot of time in, and smart guy, be able to pick up our system, well and quickly, obviously, as we get ready for this start of week one.
When you're making the decision on some of these guys that weren't in camp with you but were in camp with someone else, so you didn't really necessarily have the hands-on coaching experience with someone, how important are those conversations with the guys that did coach them?
It's very important, because as you guys know, we pride ourselves on bringing in high character guys and guys that really can fit into the locker room and gel with the current team. And he was one of those guys. Obviously, all five really of the guys we looked at, plus some of the practice squad additions, are all guys that are going to fit in that locker room, and they're going to compete, and they're coming to work, and that's what you want. You want to build on that, and it's important to us that we make sure we find those guys.
When you first got the job, you talked about this not being an overnight fix, not being a one-year rebuild, things like that. Now that you've moved ahead 7 months, how do you feel about where you're at after 7 months of starting the rebuild?
I think we're in a good place. I think we understand our roster. I think we understand the type of guys that we do have. Adding obviously the free agents and adding the draft picks now. I still believe too that you're still a work in progress. I don't think it's a final product by any means right now, and we're still working through some things. But I feel comfortable from the standpoint that we're healthy going into the regular season. Number one, that's always a big thing when you start the year. I like where Trevor is, the quarterback. I mean, that's a big part of this, and his comfort level within the system, and really how this team has come together over the course of the last 6 weeks here in camp. That really shows, I think, the maturity and leadership of this football team. And so, standing here today, yeah, you feel good, about your team going into the regular season. But again, we still haven't played a game and got a long way to go.
Back to one follow-up, if I may. When you were in Philly, you had a pretty good record within your own division at that time. Is there some sort of secret sauce to that, or is it just really a matter of just, hey, you've got a better roster than somebody else, or you've got a better quarterback than somebody else?
I think too, it's there's familiarity within your division. Obviously, you play these guys twice a year, all the time, and so you kind of understand them, they understand you a little bit, and sometimes it does come down to players. They're the ones out there playing. There's no magical formula to winning necessarily. It's just putting your pieces against their pieces and just out executing people. But familiarity is one thing. I think it's good. But again, you're at the beginning of the season where they don't know much about you and you don't know a whole lot about them, and because everybody's roster's different and different personnel, and that's the exciting part of the game planning aspect for us as coaches and trying to put our players in those positions.
Are you excited about going back and playing your old division?
I am. And obviously been in that stadium a lot, and of course, Coach Rivera, a lot of respect for him, and and then obviously Carson's there, and we drafted him and worked with him, so I'm excited about that, and looking forward to getting up there.
Back to Riley, was it a big draw to you guys to be able to get somebody with actual regular season experience, somebody who's kind of been out there and done it?
I mean, it helps. I told you guys in 2017, I believe it was, with Jake Elliott, and we basically poached him from the practice squad, and he kicked all season. He's still there for him. So, he's a guy that's had experience, and it does help. But at the same time, it wasn't the end all, to everything.
What sort of role do you see Ty Summers playing? Inside, outside linebacker?
Right now, inside. And obviously a special team player for us.
Is he more in the mold of, I know they're similar but different players, is he more of like a Foye or more like a Shaq Quarterman inside linebacker, or potentially like Devin, who obviously has the ability?
Yeah, probably in that Quarterman mold a little bit, but has some athleticism there. And again, I think, for us at that position, we look at that position too, the team's value, and what he's done and what he's shown, and not an overly big guy, but a tough guy and a smart guy, and that's what you want.
With the Hasty at running back, does it maybe help his transition a little bit, just knowing that San Francisco is a zone-based, running team, kind of how Trent talked about with Cole the other day, how he came from a zone base? Does that maybe help his transition a little bit?
It does. There's familiarity, with him and within the scheme, and he's been a third down guy for them too, a third down back for them. He's been good in protection and what you've seen this year and in years past. And again, he's a special teams type player, and we're excited to get him in here. He's got game experience, a veteran player, and it just adds to that room.
The decision to release Will Richardson, does that sort of speak to your confidence you have in the depth at that position?
Well, it does, and obviously, it gives him an opportunity to be picked up too, because he's a good player. He's played games, and it gives him a chance to be picked up. But it does. It shows the confidence in right now the 8 guys we have, on the 53, and then even some of the practice squad guys who played well during preseason who are in that spot. So, it's again, it can be tough when you're letting veteran players go. But at the same time, we understand that he, good player, and wish him well, and hopefully gets picked up.
And how important have these past couple of days been for you guys, just being able to get out there on the practice field with the 53 for you, and then the offense in general as well?
Yeah, it's different when you go from 90 or 91 in our case to 53. I mean, it's a small group, and but it is good. It's good to see the guys kind of come together and see who your team, the guys are. Tuesday was a little different because we didn't have any practice squad players, so we had to modify some things for that practice, and then we got some guys back yesterday, and we'll have a few more back today. So, it's still a work in progress, but it's good to kind of finally see, the 53 that you're working with.
It was reported that you guys worked out Corey Clement yesterday, obviously someone you know pretty well, and also if you're able to comment, what does that say kind of where you guys are in confidence in your running back room right now?
Yeah, I've got history with Corey, obviously, undrafted free agent in Philly in 17. And again, it just goes to it has. Well, let me say this. Let me start with this, saying the confidence in our running back room is high, tremendously high. We're excited where James is at, where Travis is at. Now you got Hasty and Snoop in there. So the room is a good room. A lot of confidence in that room. Same time, you look at a guy like Corey and our history with together. He was a core teams player for us. And when we were evaluating, again, the roster and where we needed some pieces, we looked at the special teams element of that. And so we brought him in. We talked to him. Wanted to see where he was at, and nothing came of it. But it's always good to revisit those players.
Doug, how do you pick captains? Do you let them vote, or do you?
I put it on the team. Actually, it's their choice, and I think it's important that they pick them. It's not necessarily me. And I stay out of it, and we're going to go through that process, and I do 2 offense, 2 defense, and a special teams captain, 5 permanent for the year. Then I'll rotate a 6th each week. But those are guys that their peers look up to, and there's a level of responsibility there, and it'll be good to see who they pick.
How do you pick the 6th each week?
It's random, it could be based on if a player is from that area, on the road, stuff like that, or if they, if it's a home game and they had a good game last week or something like that, and I just try to rotate it and look at the veterans on the team, even some of the young guys, and just pick it. It's just a random selection.
Trevor, going into that second year, you mentioned earlier feeling good about that quarterback spot. Now getting a chance to work with him, I know it's tough to compare quarterbacks to one another, but are there some traits that Trevor has that almost make him seem like a seasoned vet rather than just a second-year player?
There's some, but there's still some growth to be had and to be done. I do like where he's at going into the season this year. Got a good handle on the offense, the personnel around him. He's a smart guy. He's picked up a lot of the protections and different things that we're doing. So you can see and I'll tell you this, the playing in, every game last year really has helped him, to get to this point. And you see the veteran in him, the leadership in him that way. And, just continuing to work, and I would say a kind of a work in progress each week to get better. And that's what you want. You want to keep improving now. Again, you don't want to be a finished product in September. You want to be a finished product in January and February.
And how helpful for that improvement can it be when you have some veteran, smart wide receivers like a Marvin Jones, a Christian Kirk, a Zay Jones, who can talk back and forth with them about how they're running their route, what they're seeing in that spot?
I think it's very important, because it feels like Trevor doesn't have to do everything, right? And he gets that feedback from his teammates, and they can dialogue and watch tape together during the week and really see how they want to attack, an opponent. And, for Trevor, it just gives him confidence knowing that those guys are engaged that way. And, just give him all the help that he needs.
Plan for the weekend, everybody's out of the building, 3 days, you have everybody back in Monday or Tuesday?
3-day bender.
3-day bender. Hell yeah, a lot of ice cream, right?
Yeah, ice cream.
Yeah.
The CBA allows for 3 days off, for the players, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and again, just want them to be smart and just think about the start of the season, right? And think about how they want to go into this first week and hopefully get off on the right foot and get off to a fast start. But at the same time, I want them to kind of get away, be with their families, because we know the season's long and it's a grind, and I want the coaches to do the same.
So you guys report back Monday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday are the off days?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the players. I'll give the coaches Saturday, Sunday, and then we're all back on Monday.
Only 2 days under then.
Just 2 days. 2 days of ice cream, pizza and ice cream.
Ping pong tables in there. How do you decide what goes in the locker? Or do you have any say?
Well, when all the big guys come to me, and say, "Can we get ping pong?" I'm like, "Ping pong." That's one of the things here in obviously in the stadium. There's no player lounge. Most facilities have a place where players can go and just kind of sit down, relax, and unwind. And there's usually a pool table or a ping pong table in there. And we don't have it until our new facility is built. But it's just a way for them just to stay together, and have some friendly competition in there. But it's good. It's good to have it.
So the new building will have a pretty big players lounge?
It's going to have a player lounge in there, you know, for them just to get off their feet and relax and, you know, just enjoy one another when they get downtime.
Can we confirm who brought the putting mat?
Don't know. I think it was the Kickers.
Oh,
honestly,
okay.
I think it was Logan.
Which one?
Well, well, it wasn't the new one.
You've only had 6.
Logan. Let's put it on Logan. Let's put it on Logan.
Not surprised.
Don't quote me on that though.
Is Ben Barch your starting left guard, and if so, what has he done to
Maybe.
Yeah.
Without revealing a lot of detail. I mean, he's done a nice job, you know, competing over there with Tyler and you know, again, that's a position and along with right tackle that we feel really comfortable with whoever's in there. And you know, both guys and really all 4 guys when you throw in, you know, Walker and Jawan, they've done a nice job, you know, and you know, that's one thing you like about teams like this too. When there's battles, there's a lot of unselfishness, right? And the guys just really know how to practice and know how to compete, and you know, just know that if whatever decision's made, the other one's got their back and they're ready to go in.
So we get left guard, right tackle, and captains next week? But you're going to announce them all?
I'll probably give you captains next week.
Okay. What about left guard and right tackle?
It's possible.
It's also possible that you won't.
That's possible.
During preseason at the home games, they came out as a team. Are you a lineup guy, or are you come out as a team guy?
Honestly, I like both, but I'll leave it up to Alex on that. He'll make that decision. But no, actually, I've done both. I usually alternate offense, defense. You know, usually on home games. Problem is with odd home games, it's one of them's probably going to be a team. So we'll see.
Coach, how far ahead are you on game planning for the Commanders, having this unique week where you have 2 weeks to focus on one opponent?
Yeah, it's this week's unique because we can look ahead to the Commanders, but at the same time we're focused on our roster too, right? And so there's a lot of moving pieces and moving parts, but you know it's kind of twofold that way, you know, and we're putting some ideas and some things, you know, in front of our players this week that could be in the game plan, may not be in the game plan, things we want to try, new pass concepts, you know, possibly a new defense, whatever it might be, just to see if, you know, this is the time to kind of experiment with that this week, but at the same time, you know, begin looking at, you know, at Washington and kind of getting to know the personnel just a little bit and kind of familiarize with them and you know, and get ready for, you know, next week.
Did you start peeking ahead a little bit toward Washington before this week, though? Just a little bit here and there?
Well, I mean, if you think about it, and most teams probably do this way back in the spring, honestly, April, May, and, you know, June, and during OTAs, they actually devote time practicing, you know, their first, or at least the division opponents, and maybe even the opener. So I've done that in my past. Didn't do it here, but at the same time, I've done that where we've worked on our 3 division opponents and then our opener, you know, during OTAs. So it's not out of the possibility that teams are still doing that. We've peaked it. Especially when the schedule comes out, you kind of know your first, second, third game right there, and so you try to align some things and try to get ahead a little bit because you got time in the spring to look at a lot of tape.
Was there a reason you decided not to do it here?
Not really. Just again, with new team, new focus on the roster, and just really we're putting in new schemes, new offenses, defenses, and just focus on that. Yeah.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
So what was your last year?
Playing?